So try to imagine this, and this is probably kind of quite common for a lot of traders. You create a strategy from scratch. You have a really good idea of like how it's gonna work and how you're gonna make money in the market. Then maybe you test it, maybe it goes well, maybe not, and then you go live or demo, and then it completely scratch or it doesn't work and it's really bad. So you might be tempted to drop it, put it on the side, don't use it at all, or you might try to work on it and actually make it better, and that could be a good strategy to trade in the market later. But the question is, how do you get back? How do you make this strategy that's a losing one now into a profitable one? And that's exactly what we'll cover right now. What's up, traders? Welcome back to Chiang Mai once again. Today I want to share with you, as I said, how to turn a bad strategy into a profitable one. And I've got a few tips here that I've all used myself in the past. These are not like things that I thought about and thought that were nice and cute and fun. These are things that I've actually used in the past, and they help really kind of shift your result in trading. If you've been not profitable for some month and you want to get back to profitable, then that works well. But if you have something that's new and not working well, and you want to make it work well, that's also going to help quite a lot. The first thing to look at is what is the different profit per pair. Now, oftentimes we trade some things in the market, or let's say we back to something that works well on one pair, and we might trade it in different pairs, and it doesn't work well anymore because the fact that some pairs perform poorly and some pairs perform better. And so a lot of times we forget that maybe one pair can crush the profit of like 8 pairs or 5 pairs. And if we don't cut these pairs, then we're stuck in a bad result. So you want to maybe use a platform like my FX book. I've talked about this in the past. You can kind of filter by pair and see the trades for every pair, how they're profitable, what's the win rate, everything of the sort. And that will tell you pretty fast how profitable some pairs are and some pairs aren't. And you can kind of filter and cut the ones you don't want to have and keep the ones that are profitable. Now, a quick word of advice here is that if you want to do something of the sort, you need at least 30 trades per pair, in my opinion, okay, to know that the pair is working well or not. And if you decide to cut it, you want to monitor the result for the coming months, so that if it goes back to working well, you want to have it and keep trading it again after. Okay, it's not because you put a pair aside that you have to stop trading it forever. You can get back to it later. You can try it out again at a later point. That's totally fine. So keep monitoring the pair until it gets back to better. If it's still like performing bad for the long term, then just don't trade it. That's fine. But doing that filtering of the different pairs is going to be very useful for a lot of people. The second thing is you want to calculate what is your win rate for different take profit. Maybe now you trade for like a fixed reward to risk of 2 to 1, and that's losing money. Maybe if you just look at 1 to 1, 3 to 1, these could be more profitable. Okay, so just try to calculate for these. And I found for myself that my strategy doesn't really work well with 2 to 1 or 3 to 1, but it works really well if you combine 1 to 1 and 3 to 1, or 1 to 1 and 2 to 1. So different take profit, multiple take profit. And we'll talk about this a little bit later. But you want to be able to kind of calculate your win rate depending on how you take profit. And even though you take profit without like fixed levels, you can still do that. So go on your chart and try to figure out, well, what if I like put my take profit there at the zone, or what if I do this and that, and what would be the result? Maybe a little bit different, a tiny bit, but that's the first start to be able to do things better. So calculate this and find out the best way to do it over a large number of trades, of course, not only one but like multiple. And that's like a really good step to start to work out a little bit more on your trade management as well. The third way is to look at, so either ask yourself or look at the data and try to find out, is your stop loss optimal? So sometimes you put a stop loss like, oh, we'll be on the high, and then we forget, and we just like always do this. But there are a ton of ways to put your stop loss in the market. You decide what you prefer, of course. I personally like the one above the high. That works well for me. Could be like maybe above the zone or beyond the zone. That works well for some people too. Could be ATR based. But again, calculate these ones for all your trade. Is this optimal? Is this not optimal? And then try to figure out how you can make it better. And there are platforms for this that can help you out. Edgewonk would be a good one. Edgewonk is a software for journaling, so trade journaling. You can figure out based on your trades in the market, how would it be if you tweak things, if you change things a little bit, if you had different take profit, or if you had different kind of characteristic of your trades in the market. So that's a really good tool. I personally don't use it, to be honest. I prefer to just look at it on my FX book, and I would kind of go back and make spreadsheet for myself after that. But if you want to use it, then that works really well, and that's going to save you some time also if you're starting out in doing this. So if you're experienced and you don't want to use that, that's fine, but it's up to you. Fourth trick that's going to help a lot is really powerful. You need to ask yourself, is it me, so you, or is it the strategy that doesn't work at this point? Sometimes like you make mistakes and that's why you're not profitable. Sometimes the strategy doesn't work and that's why you're not profitable. But you gotta figure out which one. Because if you just think, oh, it's a strategy and you don't work on yourself, maybe it's yourself and maybe you don't know. So understand that it might be you, or it might be a strategy that doesn't work in the market. Or it could be the market too, of course. But find out which one and then work on that right thing. Because you don't want to work on the wrong things, of course. You want to work on the right things. So that's super important. The fifth tip is to look into your trade management alternatives. So how can you manage the trade better so that you will get more profit, so that you will increase the win rate or increase the reward or make it profitable basically. And there's a ton of ways to be able to manage your trade. So multiple take profit, moving your stop loss. There could be like scaling in, scaling out. So that's multiple take profit too, or multiple stop losses. Or just like entering a little bit, then entering more later. So scaling in the trade. That can work well as well. And there's a bunch of ways. You just gotta figure out which one and test them out and see how they work. Okay, and it could be even like, oh, if you see another setup in the opposite direction, then get out. Or if you see something that might cause your trade to be a loser, get out, or whatever that is. And if you test all these things, you might find one, and you are likely to find one that's gonna be profitable from what I've seen in the past. So for me, what helped a lot is go from 1 take profit at 2 or 3 to 1 to 2 take profit, so 1 at 1 to 1, 1 at 3 to 1 of reward to risk ratio. And that could be the same for you or different, you'll see, but you gotta test it out for yourself, of course. And the last tip I have for you, which is I think the most powerful one, is you gotta show your data or your trades to either a coach or a trader full-time and tell them and ask them what they think. Ask them to give you feedback on those trades. And that can help a lot. So sometimes it's something you don't see yourself. You show it to someone else that's good at the topic, and they will tell you like in a click, oh, this is this, work on this, do this, change this, and it might be better. Of course, this does not mean that you are not gonna do the work. You're gonna do the work anyway, but you gotta get feedback sometimes from outside to be able to work better. And so if you wanna kind of do this with us, with me, ask feedback, we have an awesome academy for this. I'll put a link down below in the comment section for you to apply. Now we are kind of quite selective. We pick people that are really serious about it. And so if you want to apply, you can apply. We'll do a call if you're a good fit and see how we can progress from there. But it's kind of, yeah, we have a lot of people that are applying for this academy now. But link is going to be below for that if you think you're a good fit. Fill in the questionnaire and we'll be happy to talk with you, of course, later. Or there are a ton of academies out there also that do different things about day trading or other topics. Okay, you gotta pick one that's gonna work for you, of course, and it's gonna fit your ideal goal. But that being said, guys, these are the 6 ways to be able to make a bad strategy into a profitable one. Comment below what you thought. If you have any other ideas of how to make it work that you've tried in the past, comment below in the comment section. Here are a few comments to pass you. I appreciate you guys for leaving comments, as always, in the comment section. Those are good. And I'll catch you back here for the next video pretty soon. Ciao.